One of the most important things about a new technology is the hype created around it. In most cases, the initial hype around a new technology does not match its content. The same thing happened in the case of the Internet of Things (IoT), as the focus was more on new devices. Go to coinmarketrate.com and see how many projects there are in this area. But that was then, and today you don't hear about them. There was no attention paid to the interaction between devices, applications and data, and the possibility of integration all the devices and system. At the same time, devices will also play an important role in expanding of future growth of the technology. This is where the relationships of the IoT to Moore's law can be found. The growth of IoT devices and the emergence of new device form factor could be the impetus for organization to work on managing the flow of data between IoT devices and the application. The new landscape should not focus on presenting information to user from an in-house or cloud system. Rather, the definition of an application should be based on the interaction of devices, applications, user data. Moore's law formula is a concept that offers the necessary support to explain future perspective on the IoT. The definition and origin of the law. If you want to know why Moore's law is important, you need to understand its definition and origin. Essentially, this law is the observation that the number of transistors in the computer chip double every 2 years. Increasing the number of transistors will increase computer power. In addition, the law also implies that the cost per transistor can decrease as the number of transistors increases. Thus, the law states that the computing power of computer chips will increase and the cost per transistor will decrease exponentially. Over the past 5 decades, Moore's law has been one of the most important tools for accurately predicting the evolution of computing technology. Intel co-founder Gordon Moore proposed the concept around 1965, predicting that by 1975 the number of transistors in a computer chip will reach nearly 65,000. Moore later revised his estimation with new data showing the computing power will double at 2-year intervals. This law serves as a guide for computer engineers and scientists who come up with the new advances. However, many assumptions point to the need to find answers to the question, will Moore's law survive in 2022? That's need clarification. Since the inception of the law, the number of transistors for each chip has grown from 3,000 to nearly 50 billion. On the other hand, the power growth predicted in the law will eventually lead to a dead end. It is quite obvious that transistors will become so small after a certain point in time. As a result, the effect of quantum physics may limit the ability of transistors to function normally. So, is Moore's law still relevant in 2022? Moore's law formula. The next important thing to develop a basic understanding of law related to Moore's law formula. Since you are looking for a law, it's reasonable to look for a quantitative representation of the law. It is important to know that Moore did not introduce a specific equation or formula for his concept. So, when you're trying to figure out what is Moore's law formula, you may find yourself confused. The simplest formula to explain the law is as follows. Here's n represents the number of years it takes to develop a new microprocessor divided by 2. Let's look at an example to better understand this law. In 1972, the Intel had about 3,000 transistors. 10 years from now, how many transistors can we expect in a microprocessor? In this case, the time difference is 10 years, hence n will be 5. Therefore, the following formula can be used. So we can find out that the processing power in the future will be 112,000. Moore's law and the IoT. Technology engineers and specialists have been able to make effective use of Moore's law in the field of semiconductors. This law has definitely helped in creating massive computing capabilities in desktops, wearable devices, smartphones and laptops. The growth of the IoT has prompted the active use of Moore's laws to create a cost model for new technologies and capabilities, like explaining the number of transistors on an integrated circuit. The law also offers a credible explanation for the faster growth of IoT-enabled networks. Gordon Moore's law association with the IoT began as soon as the concept was created. The IoT began with the integration of computing capabilities into machines or embedding. Embedding provides exceptional capabilities for controlling machines along with extracting data from them. The second stage in the evolution of the IoT saw the emergence of cloud computing with dramatic changes in scalable computing power. Cloud computing provides cost-effective and flexible access to network storage and servers. The IoT field is now in its third stage of evolution, with new devices capable of generating data and connecting to the network. In addition, IoT devices are developing the ability to provide previously unavailable information through the use of big data analytics. As the need for interconnectivity between different types of IoT ecosystem grows, the answer to the question, will Moore's law still apply in 2022, becomes clear. Many people don't understand the prospective revolutionary implication associated with his law, the impact of the law on the Internet of Things. To understand why Moore's law is important, we need to understand the implication for the IoT. First of all, the law implies that people will be able to invest in IoT devices at low cost because the initial cost of the devices will go down. At the same time, you have sustainable revenue. The lower initial cost also removes the barrier to entry, ensuring that more people get involved in the IoT field. Without any changes in the law, the landscape could lead to the opening of a huge emerging market. The Moore law IoT relationship also implies the possibility of creating massive secondary markets for IoT assets exchange. The exponential growth in the number of devices will give a massive boost to tokenization and assets trading in ecosystems. As a result, we can look forward to a future that envisions the possibility for the people to generate regular income through IoT assets. The radical adaptation of IoT device shall not instill fear of automation. Factors affecting the effects of Moore's law. The significance of Moore's law for the Internet of Things will only remain relevant if attention is paid to three different factors. At the moment, the interrelated forces of power, size, and heat raise notable doubts about reducing the size of transistors. In addition, many assumptions point to the impracticality of reducing the size of transistors or chips beyond a certain limit. On the other hand, chips' path cannot become shorter than a molecule because of physical limitation. Therefore, it is important to look for robust solutions such as multi-core microprocessors or stacked semiconductors. Conclusion: as the world prepares for introduction of IoT devices and networks, Moore's law is more relevant than ever. The law laid a solid foundation for the Internet of Things many decades ago. It was a functional tool for understanding the true potential of expanding computing capabilities in IoT ecosystems. Most importantly, the law will be in effect for a long time to come. However, it doesn't just aim to make the case for increasing the number of IoT devices to billions. The law changes the definition of application in the IoT and can set effective benchmarks for digital transformation in the future.